Hey, welcome back to the KANU Chronicles. I'm your host Nate, aka Crash, and this is episode 211. We're getting into it. I'm just me myself doing a solo cast at the moment, but you never know. Maybe I'll have a guest. Maybe I won't. I'm not going to say right now because I'm just doing this. But yeah, it's Sunday, just hanging out here at home. But before I get into everything, or any talk or whatever, but let me go ahead and get the social media out of the way. So please, if you want to follow me, come to my Instagram at GRTN and the number 8. That's Great Nate. So you could check me out there. I post, a few times a week. I don't do a ton of stuff. I've been trying to do more stories, but yeah, just letting you know. So you don't have to worry if actually I want to do more content, but just letting you know I don't post a ton, but I'm at least on there and stuff. I'm not like, I don't pick it up every 5 days. I actually, like to engage and all that. So either of these are two I'm always on pretty much every day. But Twitter, that's another one. I don't tweet a whole ton either. That's the same thing. I kind of look through Twitter more, but each day I will tweet something. Usually it's good morning. That's my big thing of the day. I try to keep that up. It's kind of nice, and I know people appreciate it out there, and I figured, trying to put out positive things, really. That's my current and new, well, it's been my attitude. I think I'm just like noticing and actually reminding myself, to go that way. That's what I'm going for more. But my Twitter is KANU Chronicles, just as it's spelled here. So all this will be in the notes, but at KANU Chronicles on Twitter, at GRTN8 on Instagram, and in the number 8, Great Nate. And those are it. You could also like our Facebook page, which is KANU Entertainment. I don't have a separate one for the podcast. Probably will not do that, especially right now. I have way too many things I'm managing online, and I don't need to add more to what I got. So, but the KANU Entertainment, I try to post the podcast, there. It definitely always, I tweet about it on Twitter. It's always Twitter and Instagram mostly. But as long as you're subscribed on your platform, I don't know, if you're on iTunes, if you're on Google Play, if you're, whatever you're on, just add me to your favorites, subscribe. Please give a 4 or 5 stars or whatever you can give. Anything like that. That helps in the rankings. We could get, that helps me out overall. So, I'm really working towards making this so I can get paid, guys. So, I've been working hard on this, or hard enough. I wouldn't say I'm working super hard, but, I've been dedicated to keeping this podcast going, and I want to make it that much better. So the more I can do that, I'll start having time, and we'll get some more interesting and fun podcasts going. But that's going to happen either way, but I'm just putting it out there. So yeah, it's just Sunday hanging out. It's the 18th. I'm getting in past halfway mark of August, which is nuts. So we're, the summer's kind of ended for some kids this week. What a bummer, man. You got kids going back to school this past week. I've seen a decent amount of kids online, and I think I could kind of feel it out there. You could see it, Actually stopped by the local pool. I didn't go in. I need to go in. There's only a couple weeks left, really. And it was pretty light there. So it was like, oh man, see, I got to do this because there was nobody there. So it's great. But as you well know, if you've been listening, and if you don't, here we are. But Yeah, I've been working, man. This is my first weekend I've given myself, um, off in over a month. I think I counted out, if I know I'm pretty much right, but it's like I did like 40 plus days, 42 maybe, I don't know. Maybe a little more. I don't even want to talk about it almost, but over 40 days straight, basically. And some of those days, which really was just Sundays, that was my lightest, where I would do 6 hour. But yeah, I put in shifts all that time, and this week I was, actually the last 2 weeks I was really like, I gotta finally, you know, it's like I gotta take one, you know what I mean? At least and even this weekend I was already starting to go, well, maybe I'll do this, and but I finally, to myself yesterday, I really was like, yo, stop that shit. You need to go ahead and just stop. So, yeah, you get, and I can get on a roll, man, and the kind of work I do, it makes it easy to do that, but it's like, yeah, I gotta take the breaks where I can. It's just it could become a bit unhealthy. It's just taking that time for yourself too, and just getting off of what I've been doing, because I'm, I'd say if anything, the thing is, spending time in a dark room with bright screen, and you're staring at a screen, you start getting lost. You don't even really think about it much, but you're not unlike a lot of people. I mean, you got people staring at their phones all day and other screens, so it's like probably a lot of people's work. It's just that it's in a dark room most of the time. Well, I mean, every time really, but yeah, you just that in itself can be, that could be somewhat of a, it can't be good overall, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's terrible, but it's not necessarily, probably psychologically day after day, the best thing, just like any type of work. So yeah, it's been a lot. So don't mind me if I sound a little burnt, but that's what it's been. I just, I chilled out though this last day or so. I've gotten some good rest already, so that's nice, but I could feel I need that much more, but I'll have today and I don't have to go to work till later tomorrow in the afternoon, so that's good. Definitely not a bad way to start the week off. Even though I've been juggling a lot, I will say I think I've managed it pretty good the way I have it set up. But yeah, now this week I'm just thinking about, I'm like, boy, here we go again. I'm going to get back kind of in that mode, but it's like I still got to figure out another day here soon. I got to basically determine my time off, that the way my, as a freelancer, and I've picked up extra work, but I have to make a decision of like, yeah, but I got to try to cut it down. And, it's just being mindful and doing it, basically. I wouldn't say I don't want to use the word I didn't want to say it's challenging, because I don't think it is. It's just me making sure to put that time in and just locking off time, as I go along, But I don't mind, I don't mind putting in some good work. It's no problem. But I got to start putting in these day or 2 day, I need to start doing that, that I can't keep. I definitely don't want to do another, I'm not looking to do another 40-day stretch, and I probably wouldn't. I'd say the next stretch here, maybe it'll be 10, but probably won't even be 10. So anyways, I don't want to keep going on about it. It's kind of, a bummer to think of, but that's what I have to do. That's what I've been doing. I shouldn't say. Actually, to be honest, I wouldn't say I really have to do it. But, sorry about the water. I just was pouring some water. So, but yeah, it's not that I could do less. I could do less, but because of what I'm trying to get done and accomplish, and I want to pay some bills faster. That's just what I've been doing, and it's just going to require some of this type of work for a little while. And then in the meantime, I do this podcast, which is there's a little work involved, but it's very it's actually pretty minimal when it comes down to it. It's pretty, doing it once a week, and the way I do it and everything, it's very it works well, is what I want to say. So now I'm just at a point that, like I said, I need to start creating, I got to start getting my revenue going in this realm, which, is going to include, and I've already did a little bit here and there, but it's going to start including some more, some ads. Now, obviously, in doing that, some of this is going to be, some of it, I'll just have to see how the numbers work out. But either way, it's something I got to start including, and it's just gonna be a little shift in the format. But otherwise, you guys are gonna get still a lot of good content. I'm not gonna, make them real long. I'd say I'm gonna keep it pretty strict. I'd say I would top out at the most on a podcast 5 minutes total of ads. That's really what I'm looking at. And if it happened to get a little bit longer, I want to make that fun then, obviously it's not going to just be a serious ad, so that's just something that, I gotta, just gotta do. So anyways, giving you all this background and work talk, but I know some of you guys might be doing the same thing yourself. Maybe it's podcast, or maybe there's some things in your job or some kind of hobby you're doing, and you're trying to take it to that next level. Hey, just got to do the work. So that's the thing, is I've when it comes down to it, I'm just making sure to be as proactive as I can be each day. And then, so with doing that, and the hours of everything else, it can wear on you. So that's what I've really had to make sure to do this last day or so, is like just kind of shut that down and let my mind try to relax again, and not be like firing so much of like, oh, I got to do this, and it's like, I just got to calm that down. It's good. I'm glad that I've gotten things done. I've been getting things done, and I'm definitely going to continue. But I have to, I think we have to make sure to stop that too for a little bit, so you're not like, it just burns you out. And right now I feel it a little bit, but yes, part of the reason I feel what I feel is yesterday I had a couple beers extra than I would usually, or whatever. I haven't drank a whole lot for a while now, which is good. But yeah, it's catching me a bit today. But I know that it's really, I'm mostly fine, but I could just feel it, like I'm out of it kind of thing. But I know it's like, damn, it's the reality of the work, that those hours and kind of the going and all that. I could feel it right now. It's like, damn, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. It catches up with you, but it's all good. Not gonna cry or something, or bitching. There's nothing about that, because it's been good. It's been mostly been really good. Which I'm glad. I'm very grateful to say that. I don't. I'm lucky that I don't have that job that that's super miserable or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm grateful for that. But even so, just for any of us, like, we have to stay that way in any position. Whatever you're going through and stuff. If you're in a even if you're not making what you want to make or what you need to make, it's very tough. I'm not gonna downplay that, but you got to keep a spirit about yourself, and you don't want to let it kill your spirit. You have to money in these things that we're all like, because ultimately that's what it comes down to. When it comes down to this time and what I'm doing, it's like, yeah, it's because of expenses in life. Our expenses. I mean, thankfully, where we live, we've been here for a while, and because of that, we're in a good range. Our rent could be much. It could be much more easily. So there's things like that, but even so, with bills and all the other stuff. Trying to build savings and keeping a savings and all that, it's such a it becomes such a tough thing, and especially if you're trying to build yourself up and do other things, that requires a certain amount of money. But out of all that, it's like, it's just you have more jobs. So all these things, it takes away from your time, and so we get beat down a bit just by, physically, feeling tired and, literally not getting that, relaxation that you need to get and all that. Or enjoyment, because even good enjoyment and all that can actually, that's important, and that helps. You got to entertain and have something going on in your life, or else you're just going to feel very stuck, So, but it's, even with that, what I've realized over time and all that, you still have to appreciate the small things and find simple joy in your life. You got to be appreciative. Like, we get all, maybe it's because, we're built for this certain ambition in this country particularly, and probably in a lot of countries, but it's like, we're all like, the idea is like, let's get rich and wealthy and all that. And it is a nice, it's something to go for. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But then it's like, well, you could get there, or you could get a certain amount of it maybe, and you're still not happy because you're working hard for it, or maybe now you're too old to enjoy it in a certain way because you're tired, or whatever. It's like then it just, I don't know. It's like that's why it's important to, you got to be able to have joy even when you don't have much. And you should, and we should have a lot of it. I mean, really, yeah, I may not have a certain amount of assets, or, I don't know. I don't have like this property and that. I have pretty simple things, we just have I just have stuff. We have stuff like anybody else, and I have my cars, and that's it. I don't have a lot to worry about otherwise, but there's something good about that. Just like I just slipped up and said, but like, I don't have to worry. I just said I don't have to worry as much. So that's the thing, is having less is having more in some ways. It's all about your perspective of it and how you look at it. So physical assets or things like if I had a car, let's say maybe I just had some cars in another state. Maybe I had, along with that, had another house, or, maybe it was investment property though. and I have people living there, and that's great, making some income from it. It's paying for itself. But it's another worry. It's a thing to take care of, be aware of, and all that. So, or let's say it's much bigger than that. Let's say I have 20 million liquid or something. Maybe some of that's invested, or who knows. Let's just have a lot of money. And I have a big condo here. That's not bad. That's pretty manageable. And then I have 3 homes in 3 states, So all that, yeah, it's very cool. That's great. But, you don't know until you have that. How would you really feel about that, that reality? All of a sudden now you got to worry about those other places. Is that, how much time is that going to take up? Or is it going to be pretty self-managed? Do you have a good managed situation? Or is there much to do with each of those homes? What's the condition? So all I'm saying is, it's kind of, this is a little mental exercise to do. So like, if you're like, man, I got a lot of debt, man, and I got, student loans and all of that. And it crowds up your headspace because you're thinking about this thing and that thing. That's legit. That's no joke. That's real. But go ahead and add to that reality, because even people with all that property and things doesn't mean they don't have some outstanding debts of some sort, or they're dealing with maybe their family, helping other people out type debts. There could be that, or whatever. I'm just giving you some things. They don't even have to have that, because even so, you could have the money, but now you're basically, you may have enough money or more than enough, but now you got to really manage that. You can't just go, oh, we're good, whatever. You're still going to have to be paying a mortgage of some sort, or at least a tax, and then you're going to have to do at least some kind of upkeep, some kind of insurance. There's all these different things, and you have like multiple properties, like I'm saying. So I'm just saying this, for any of us. So, just as a mental exercise, something to think about when it comes to what that means when, we want to get wealthy and acquire more. It's like, with that, it's also responsibility. It's not bad, but just think about that. Or it can be. It doesn't even have to be. Like I said, these are still choices. You don't have to have 3 homes. You could end up just saying, hey, I have my one place, and I have all this money, and it's in the bank, or it's invested, and I'm doing some things with it to make money. You know what I mean? You could be literally just doing that. I'm playing. I've got the stock market down well. I'm learning that, and I'm making money on that, and I got my money in the bank, and I got my place. Because to me, something like that is more ideal, quite honestly. If I'm literally in that realm, and obviously I have pretty much no other bills, I'm just taking care of regular, household. Fuck yeah, man. And you got that situation, great. You go to travel, go visit family. I don't need much. I would like something kind of ideal to that. That's what I would like. And, yeah, that's it. And then just get, be able to do this podcast for you guys, and probably, be good enough on that, So that's something. These are things I'm basically, ideas or where I'm working towards, but yeah, that's what's going on in my world. So just to take you through that, we'll go ahead and I'll talk go into some sports. Where are we at here? Okay. Get into some sports. Preseason NFL football. I'm just going to talk about the Steelers. That's usually who I'm going to talk about. But anyways, Steelers played the Chiefs at home. I think it's their first one at home. Yeah, it's the first one at home of the preseason game. And yeah, they played the Chiefs and they won 17-7. And I tried watching a little bit. I was a little out of it at that point. But yeah, I didn't watch much. I watched like a quarter and a half. It just seemed a little tug of war going on. Not much was going down. But I caught the highlights, and yeah, the Steelers, yeah, they did a great job. They came back and won 17-7. Well, actually, they got ahead by 7, and then Chiefs tied it, and then they basically took it from there. But really, I'm really pleased seeing what's going on, man. I like the new talent that's trying to get signed. There's like probably 3 or 4 guys that have made some big plays or showing some kind of promise. And yeah, I can't even rattle off anybody's name. I think one, I'd have to look it up, and I'm not going to do all that right now. But I'm just going to, watch a little bit each week just to see who these guys are. But Hodges, the 4th string quarterback, he looked pretty good out there. Both these games he's looked well. So it's just top to bottom looking really nice. But Mason Rudolph is looked like he's developing great. Actually, all of them. I mean, Dobbs, I don't know how much play he got, but they've all so far. I mean, you could definitely see the improvement in sharpness. They're not making mistakes mostly, so that's really I'm looking at. So even if you maybe don't, because they're all, you're breaking up the game. It's not like you're getting a guy that's getting to go through the whole damn game. Then and even then, one game, it's kind of tough to really say, oh, this guy's this or this guy's that. In my world, when you go, like, when that time comes, when we're like, okay, it's time, Ben's going to retire and all that shit. It's going to take that next guy. You're going to have to see a full season to get a good glimpse, of what you got going on, for that next part of where the franchise is going to go. So we're still far from that right now. Yeah, we're what? I think Ben just did his extension, so I think it's 3, including this season, it's 2 more. So you got 3 full seasons to go, basically. And even then, he still could be in well enough shape. So he could still stick around. You never know, But I don't know. I have a pretty good indication that I feel like... I don't know. I feel like Ben's a guy that... when it's time to hang it up, I think he's going to just do it before he has to. I think I don't think he wants to go down. I don't think he wants to wait till he's too banged up. I mean, he's already been banged up. So, I just don't, and I don't want to see that. I want to see him go out, in pretty, obviously in relatively as best shape as he could be. And I think he's working towards that. I mean, he's taking care of himself better and better every year, as far as I could tell. I think last year he played really well. Last 2 years, actually, fantastic in a lot of ways. But, I'm really interested for this season with all the weapons and all these young guys around him. And, I want to see them go at it and get serious and get a Super Bowl, And it's not about for him, but for themselves. Like, I want it for the organization. It's time to get that chip off their back and get back in the lead again. And I don't see why this group can't do it. I don't care if we've lost Brown and Bell. Bell, it really doesn't matter because we've now been this will be the second season really without him. So that's already like, yeah, we're good. And then Brown, I don't think there's going to be much drop off because Schuster's going to fill. And in Washington, he's showing. So I don't think there's going to be a drop off. And Rodgers. So I see these guys. Everybody's because the thing is they know, all of those guys know that, hey, we have some paydays we can get here, and obviously somebody's going to want to get the big one, and that'll be a Schuster guy probably, and I don't think anybody's going to have a problem with that. And he's I think he's a pretty chill dude, but we don't. Hey, money can get to people's heads, or yeah, I mean, you don't, who knows, but it feels like to me, and I'm getting ahead of myself. That would still be, I don't know how long till that would come up again for a big contract, if that's next season or the following season. But all I'm saying is, it's, I could see, obviously guys want to stick around, be a part of this organization, and for many reasons, there's something to, it's just great to see it continue on, just the Steelers as a, I feel like as a organization, and particularly with Tomlin and everything they've got a pretty good machine going on. They've been great at recruiting as of late, better than they've been. Yeah, I'd say these past 4 seasons, give or take, I'd say that this has been I feel like they've really steadily have gotten that much better with it. And this particular offseason, I really think they've really gotten some gold. But yeah, and that's also to do, it has also to do with the class you're getting. Not every year is going to be amazing, and not every team's going to get, a bunch of guys. You may get if you get one really standout guy from a draft, you got to go, okay, that's what we get. You're panning for that gold, But I'd say most good teams probably get about 3 guys in different positions that end up contributing, Maybe not in that first season, but by season 2, So, but yeah, it's is a long time fan, man. I'm just I'm just getting ready for it. I'm trying to learn. Like I said, I'm just trying to learn each guy. I'm still getting used to the, like I said, Eli Rogers, who's been there for a little bit, but now we're gonna see his name more. Washington, but I'm just, I'm just trying to see. It's like every year you get refamiliar. Like, okay, who do we got out there? It's like this, and Ben is literally the only guy left, from the last Super Bowl. I don't think there is another guy. I could be wrong. There might be one more on a lineman or something, but I don't know. I think that it's pretty much, I think he's it now. So, man, it's fantastic. And it's, for me, it's a trip because, I've seen his whole career, Ben's whole career. I've seen all these other guys, I got, this is now where I feel like that, definitely become like that older fan. But it's cool, man. I just, it's just a, the thing is, man, I love it. Football's fun and all that, but it's such a week to week thing. And, it gets, you just get kind of, it's kind of slow and boring to talk about that one game you had this week, that's the only thing about it, it's like, it takes a while. It's such a grind, But when the season, as it progresses, it goes pretty fast all of a sudden. Then you're like, wow, we're at this point, But it's a cool pace. It's interesting. It's different, It's just different from any of that. That's what's pretty fun about it. Each game is so big in a way, or bigger at least, than most sports, Now, the first few weeks kind of is a little light in a way. You can make some mistakes. You have a little, that's kind of where you don't want to start bad or whatever, but hey, if you have a couple hiccups, you can do that, But obviously, as it gets to week 6, week 8, if you're not kind of on the plus side, it's like your chances aren't looking good. But yeah, we'll see what happens. The Ravens, Lamar Jackson, I guess he's been really stepping up. I think he's going to be at the helm, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Again, I'm not going to cover every team out there at all. I just mentioning them in the division. Cleveland, I'm not sure how they're doing, but it's going to be thick though, man. Between Cleveland, actually all of us, man. The Browns, Bengals, and the Ravens. I'm not worried about the Bengals at all, but the other two, it's going to be tough, or it can be tough. We'll see. It may not. It actually might not be tough. We might be like, whoa, shit. Because I feel good. I feel for the first 2 games for the Steelers. So far, yeah, very good, man. I don't put a lot into preseason, but when you see your team looking that stacked up and together, in those backup guys, and I don't know, when you see a certain machine going on like that, and it's not that they were absolutely perfect, but when they're playing at a pretty good level, especially against no slouches, the Chiefs are a good team. It's really big. It's really, really big. For that there's something to that. I would say there's something to that. If your team is playing in the preseason in terms of their backups, and it's like I said, if it's looking pretty good, there is something to say about that. So we'll see. But that's all. I don't really have nothing else to say. It's just preseason, but that's my take right now. What I feel, the bit I've seen on online. Oh, excuse me. Of course, in other news, big deal was Jay-Z just did a deal with the NFL with Rock Nation with I think he's going to be, he's in charge of the halftime show, and, it's to do with bringing, to help, also to help get into some of this gun violence or, police brutality. I don't know. It's kind of unclear on some of that, what way or what the NFL is going to do. But that was a big thing. Plus, now he's also they're talking about he's going to be a part owner on a team soon. And I'll say who, but that came up. So, that's very significant. But it's been a really hot topic this week. Amongst hip hop fans and otherwise, just like, okay, well, what does this really mean, Jay-Z? What do you were just supporting Cap, but he hasn't had a chance or any, tryouts or anything like that. So there was just all this people making a controversy when there really isn't. But, that's been the talk this week. It's just been the past few days that this has all gone down, so it's very new. Of course, I'm sure these talks have been going on much longer. Usually they are, or maybe it's a little less long than we may know. Maybe it is pretty fresh overall. You never know. But my take on it is, hey, you gotta wait and see, really, man. But I like that there's outlets online and YouTube. I think that it's important that discussions are being made and brought up, and we'll see. That's all you can do is kind of wait and see and see how things present itself. But at the end of the day, I'd say if you really are a Jay-Z fan, just you're gonna have to. You have to also just treat it for what it's like. He's a businessman, so if you're gonna put everything on him and he's supposed to change the world or something like that from this deal, like, I just think your expectations are just they're not gonna help you. You may not want to do that. That's all I'm saying. I would say be realistic, and just gonna have to see what happens. But people are gonna they're gonna really be on him, probably even a little more than he should be, quite honestly. Because if he was like, if he was, if he really was making himself like, if he started kind of in a politics way, promising things and all that, then it would be different of like, okay, well, the expectation should be there. But because he really hasn't been, you got to still look at, hey, he has done a lot of great things and continues to do so in terms of, he's been a part of getting Meek Mill justice with, caught lawyers and all that stuff. Like, he's done a ton of things behind the scenes, him and Beyonce. So that should be noted and whatever. So, but people are going to want to jump right away and get a judgment about this process when there's really nothing to judge just yet. But again, at the end of the day, why are you torturing yourself? The guy's a businessman. If it's going to be more business and he's going to make more money and that's what it's going to be, then that's what it's going to be. If he's going to be able to make any strides or change otherwise, fantastic. But you can't judge that in an announcement that just happened, So it's just like a lot of these things. We get the story, we get the news headline, and that very moment and stuff, we have a complete judgment when a lot of times we're still very uninformed, or, things haven't gotten a chance to play itself out. So, like, for instance, the stock market, everybody got nuts the other day. Which, not that they shouldn't have been paying attention, but there's some kind of yield curve they call, or something that happened where they said that happened before in other recessions before it, or, this is like an indicator. And you had a big drop and everything, a significant one, should be noted, no doubt. But right away, we've kind of recovered a decent amount of that in the last couple days. So, I don't, and it's for me, or any regular person that doesn't maybe have a lot of financial knowledge in terms of stocks and how these things work in the markets at large and all that shit. We're right away wanting to, especially if you're not a Trump fan or whatever, it's going to be like, see, he doesn't know what he's doing, and it's all going to... It's easy to go say those things, but you don't know that. Like, the people that deal with the markets know we gotta kind of trust them and gotta wait and see. And even those guys, they'll have multiple opinions. There's no one clear person that's gonna get it right, And when the shit happens, it's gonna just happen, In 2008, that's kind of went down. It just kept going down. It was like, oh shit. But we'll see. We have a lot of different things going on in the economy from that time. And I think part of that's a big difference too is the way that technology in terms of trading, there's just so many advances that have happened in that time, since that time. And certain things that I think that the markets and things are aware of there's been preventative measures in place improving on what was already there from that time to prevent it. So that's why I'm saying let's be mindful, take a look at it. Most of us, let's be honest, most people, where you're going to get affected in a market crash or a recession, and it could possibly be on your house. It just depends. I don't know if that'll happen like last time. It'll be on your 401k. but that's a temporary thing really, because it's about the long term. Now, if you're about to retire, then yeah, that's a bummer to say the least. So maybe you want to be a little careful and try to pull some away, or I don't know, do something to try to protect it. I don't know what can be done. You could look into it. And then other than that, on the job front, you depending on your sector and what you're in, job markets can get affected, So it can have a real effect, but it's, I just think that most people, it can be, it just depends in the financial situation you're in, is what I want to say. I think if you have more to lose, then it's more problematic, and especially if you have your a lot of stuff in stocks or things that can get affected. It can affect everybody. I'm just saying, if you have more to lose, that's more, I'd say, a bit more scary. If you have not much of or anything to lose, you're in a great position, really. And then you got to look at, this is the thing too, guys. Take some time, learn a little history when it comes to stock crashes, recessions, and so forth, because it gets everybody nobody likes to think about that. It gets people depressed and bummed out, and like I said, rightfully so to some degree. But that's why it's important for all of us to improve our financial education, from saving to stocks to managing our money better, and just understanding money more than what we do. Just getting into it a bit more. It's not even funny. There's so much free content to get on this stuff, and I'm not a wizard. I'm learning myself, so I'm just putting myself in this equation. But the more you can know, the better off you'll be. But when it comes to these things, the thing you got to remember is that, this is what I was saying, if you're in a position where, and even if you have more, the thing to look at with this is like, okay, a crash or whatever you want to call it happens. Well, the thing is, hopefully you could do this, or you'll get to this point. But out of that, if you're at the bottom now, that's when you really want to buy on certain stocks or certain things. And people will be like, you're crazy, but let me tell you, because that's where you're going to get, if you can get something at its lowest, it's going to rebound. That's always what happens. There's always, and sometimes it may come a little fast, and in others it takes a little longer, but that's what we've seen. So you don't want to just look at these, this is why it's good at these times to try to learn some, because that's where trust me, people make millions when these things happen. There's a lot of money being made. As much as it seems like there isn't, there is money being made. So I'm trying to learn a bit and be more in that mindset. And also, it's just a mindset thing. Because if you could think in those terms and look at, just like if you look at, for instance, depends on your city. Maybe you're in that city, but if you're thinking of, let's say it's a city like Detroit. It's not a city on most people's list to bother with or want to go to. It has a negative connotation on it a bit still. But if you're an entrepreneur, or you're aware of what's going on in Detroit, in some other similar cities, these are great places to go and invest, or maybe even live and build your business or whatever. Or just even go do business there or whatever. But because, I think that Detroit's kind of rebounding. I don't know by how much, but for property and stuff, it's low. It's been low. So anywhere that you have that, you got to look at the opportunity in it. Like Pittsburgh, for me, I started realizing that, when I left not long after, it's like, it hit me. I didn't never, think of it that way, but then I was like, I was like, shit, I was like, you know what? There's a lot of opportunity in Pittsburgh if somebody comes with that mindset and the money and the vision. I just saw it. I was like, this city can really, and I know that thought wasn't just me. There was others thinking that. And since then, it has become some of that, for sure. It's got room to grow, for sure, too. It's like anywhere, but it has become more of the city, I would hope for it a bit, in terms of, a variety, some variety in nightlife, variety in places to eat and hang out at, I think just changing things where it's not what it was over and over, these, we don't need to have the same dive bar forever, or there's these places, not unlike anywhere else, but you get used to the same places forever and ever, but it kind of needs to change. So that's what I'm saying is, like, I was hoping that those things would happen, and that's been a thing there. You have a sense of new life there in some places, in a certain business entrepreneurship spirit, so it's just been positive to see. You're seeing that happen. And, and along with other sectors, the technological sector, you have that stepping up out there, and just a whole lot of pockets. But that city has developed into something really interesting. It's definitely moved beyond. And it's been for some time, but I'd say now it's getting that much more solid too. But it's not the old Steel City it was, at all. I mean, there's some of that left a bit, and it's obviously more advanced. You don't have to have, people in these dangerous jobs they don't exist anymore like they did years ago. Stuff like that, but. And, all the other things that go along with that. But, you have a variety of economy there outside of that, which is developed for some time now. So that's all I'm saying, guys, is, like, to get down to it, look at your situation, where you're living and all that. And this could go anywhere in the world, not just here in the States. But, it's about looking at that and wanting, and hopefully transforming that place a bit, and it starts with ourselves, though. It starts within our house and in our own finances and in our work, transforming ourselves from, I think we're definitely in a time, probably really have been a bit longer than we may think, but especially now because of the online world and the digital means to do things. We're just in such a fantastic time of people, like, literally almost anybody and everybody can be an independent business owner and successful. And there's so many tools. Now, whether it starts with Uber, whether it starts with any of the rideshare gigs, period. And then you add to that, some affiliate marketing, some of these online workspaces like Upwork and Freelancer, if you have certain skills, graphic design. I mean, it just goes on and on and on of all these things that, you got to stop and appreciate whether you're doing any of those things or not, maybe I'm, giving you an idea to run with. But this is a very unique time, unlike ever. At least in my timeline, for sure. I can't say forever and ever, but it's definitely unique. We don't have to. We're just getting to that space, and we are at that space, really. I should stop saying getting to. We're there. But we're at that space for sure with all these things, that the podcast that I'm doing, all this stuff. You don't have to work for somebody. And it's not, and I don't want to, that shouldn't be negative. It's just that it's become that because so many times, people don't pay properly, or you just can't, or it's just, you outgrow that. Maybe that was good money for you for a while, but now you're like, you know what? I don't want to be limited. I want to make $10,000 a week. And it may not even be that you need it, but you're just like, I want to make that much, because you're like, I could really, set myself up so I don't have to, and I could work less. So these are way more obtainable things. Those aren't crazy. That's not crazy talk anymore. And I'm even saying 10,000 a week in some cases is low. There's people going, I want to make 200,000 a week. Well, you can actually. You have to figure it out. There's a math equation and what that's going to take, but the application of getting it done is truly possible. Truly possible. So, especially when we're talking on these online means of doing it, where, it's a ton of affiliates, it's so many affiliate sales you're making, your own type of stuff that you're selling digitally, whatever, whatever that may be. There's a ton of things that can make that money. But I'm just these are just examples. There's just more possibilities than ever. Now, is everybody going to reach that? Maybe and possibly not, but the thing is, I'd say more people would be surprised, a lot of people would be surprised how fast they could probably replace their job and income and be able to probably even work a little less, if not a lot, with some of this stuff. That's very real. So yeah, so that's my kind of, if you want to say, rant on all that. But anyways, guys, I just wanted to, I'm just going to be sharing. I'm going to be sharing some of this stuff as I keep going along, whether it's something I'm active with or just even, re-encouraging you guys each week, in terms of giving you these little tidbits or just sparks, something to make your mind kind of think. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, that's pretty much it for right now. So I will be back in a little bit.